NBA NHL playoffs start. It's 4:20 tomorrow.
Yeah.
For some that celebrate. Right. You have to go west instead of east if you'd like to celebrate it. You could go into the state of Missouri to celebrate, up to South Dakota.
Mm-hmm. So. Whoa, I didn't know that was a thing in South Dakota. How about that?
You can drive 80 on I-29 and I think just recreational use.
How about that? Well,
have yourself
to hit
a
up
day.
That summit tournament next year.
Yeah. I won very naive Midwestern I didn't get the whole 420 stuff until about 10 years ago.
Really?
When somebody goes, hey, do you celebrate 420? And I'm like,
huh? You're like, whose birthday's on the 20th of April?
I have no idea.
What's on TV at that time?
Like, look at Justin. What is Justin known for? I'm like, oh, he's a pothead. Yeah, that's what 420 is. I've been told that Madison is the place to go.
Madison, Wisconsin?
Boulder, obviously. The great
they have a big 420 fest in Madison.
Okay. All I know is our biggest claim to fame in this state is on 420 we had Snoop perform. Out of all the places that Snoop wanted to perform on 420 was Lincoln, Nebraska.
You ain't beating that.
Nope.
A couple of things here. Texter Dave writes in. He said when I was in high school, they had state wrestling in the Big 12 indoor trek at the same time at the Devaney. Not like running around the mats. Do you remember where they had the indoor track? Well, they still do, but when it was connected by
Yeah.
All right.
That would have been kind of fun.
What did we get the name? It's not.
Oh, it's hang
on.
It's
Mats and Bars.
Tumble and Numble.
Not Hell in a Cell.
Tumble and Rumble.
Tumble. Yeah, I think he meant Rumble, but Tumble and Numble.
That is
Tumble and Rumble.
That is fantastic. That's a good bring in two different audiences.
Mm-hmm. A lot of intense. One is very intense. The other is, that was fantastic.
Well, there'd also be like cheering at odd times.
Yeah.
Like I think it'd
be like watching the NCAA tournament while you're at an NCAA tournament game.
Like state volleyball is a little bit awkward because they split up. They have two courts running simultaneously, and so you'll get, if you're focused on one, you might hear a roar on the other. It's kind of like one of the most fascinating things about state wrestling and how great it is there's always noise going on.
Yep.
But if you're focused on your mat and way at the other end of the arena, there is something like a big upset coming, or, like a 4-time state champion is out there and maybe they're in danger and there's just an absolute roar and you're looking, we're 2-1 here in the first period.
Yeah. When I would cover high school state wrestling, we'd be watching, either Columbus wrestler or somebody within the area of Platte County. And then all of a sudden, you have that behind you or next to you or across the way. And you immediately it's amazing though. At first it's weird. After a while, you totally get used to it. It's just sort of white noise to you, but it's also kind of like going to golf. I mean, if you go to a PGA event, you're watching a group and then all of a sudden you hear a large roar from a different hole. And especially the way golf courses at sound carries, you're like, I wonder what I just missed there.
Yadi. Excuse me.
Yachty?
Molina?
Yeah, the Yachty.
On the stream said, whatever happened to the Nike store that Sue was supposed to bring to downtown Lincoln?
I didn't even know there was a Nike store that Sue was bringing to downtown Lincoln.
So Sue has a development company. It was called TFL. I think it still does. It's TFL Development, Inc. And as the Nebraska bookstore was emptying out, God, I love the Nebraska bookstore. I knew somebody that managed it. I got a lot of stuff out of it. I got a lot of stuff out of the Nebraska bookstore. But Sue wanted to bring a Nike college store, and it was going to be basically Nike Town in that building. And then there were some people that at the University of Nebraska-Lincoln heard about it from Adidas, and they stepped in. They sent. So this is what, like, Sue went dark. Remember, Sue's relationship with Nebraska went south, and this is what started it. Is the University of Nebraska sent his company a letter saying the negotiating process is done, and Sue was livid, and he disappeared for a while. Remember, even though you would go into the weight room and there would be Big Sue, you never saw him until Scott Frost's first game.
I didn't realize that was,
which was great because that was very unpleasant that Sue wanted to bring commerce to the university, wanted to bring Nike Town, and the university said, We
got another outfitter that is going to, our sports supplier is going to be very, very upset about that one too. I mean, I get it. that makes sense, but that would be very strange because I think a lot of people, and we just saw one right now, people clamor for Nike stuff when it comes to Nebraska.
You can find Nebraska stuff that has the swoosh on it.
Yeah.
Like, can you go to Shields or Dick's? They'll have some Nike stuff.
Once in a while, yes, you will find. I have seen.
Well, I know you can get a lot of Omaha apparel, Nike, and even the occasional Under Armour. I think Lawler's has some of that too. It's like, well, whoever wants to throw on an Omaha logo, go ahead and do it. It's like, well, you're not getting the official stuff unless it has the 3 stripes. But I'm okay with Adidas. Maybe it's just I've only known Adidas, but I'm okay with.
They've
Adidas.
taken care of me for a long time, so I can't judge.
I'm good with them. There's just been this big claim. I don't think they're doing so poorly with what they throw out there for Nebraska that all of a sudden we need to get crazy, get nuts.
Doug is back.
Thank God.
I've been out of the office at the Masters.
Oh, was that a bicep I just saw?
Sorry.
Alternate uniforms. If we're going to do anything, let's have alternate winning. Wonder what our record since we started the alternate uniforms. Probably a losing percentage.
Yeah.
I would have. Well, you know what? The last time Nebraska beat Wisconsin was in an alternative uniform. So
we went to UCLA, and that
was also when Joel Stave was quarterback at Wisconsin.
My man Joel Stave, who ended up getting the yips.
Maybe there would be less Jaskers if Nebraska basketball was ever good for a decent period of time. What do you think, Nick?
Would you stop? Would you stop?
I don't think Nebraska basketball, like starting to stack like seasons they had last year, would have any impact on Creighton.
Yeah, I don't think so either.
I think Nebraska basketball went down. Creighton basketball went up. If you were on the fringe, you were an Omahan.
Yeah.
Instead of making the trip down to Lincoln at 7:00 at night to go see a Husker game, you're like, I got good basketball right in my backyard. And so the Jaskers grew. And I don't think you would leave.
Yeah,
I think it would just strengthen the just I'm a Nebraska fan, period, core.
Yeah, if you're a Nebraska, even Nebraska athletics, regardless of how much you pay attention to, say, wrestling or how much you pay attention to baseball or softball, when Red's in town, you support them blindly. I've never seen at least an amount of people that I would say is worth discussing that equally roots for Creighton basketball and in Nebraska basketball. This is a football conversation. So that whole part of it, I think I'm with you, Gary. I think even when Nebraska is woeful, those Nebraska basketball fans are still going to be true to them. Now they're going to be frustrated, but they're not all of a sudden going to defect over to Omaha to start throwing on blue and watching Creighton games. I think that there is definitely a line there.
It would just, if you were just a Nebraska football fan and you dabbled in a couple other sports, if Nebraska basketball was consistently, they go 23 again next year, they get in the NCAA tournament, then you're like, you know what? Basketball is part of my rotation. Instead of just pay attention once in a while, I will be all in.
Go to an Omaha hockey game. That's the most all-inclusive audience you'll see when it comes to fan bases.
Shout out to my drumming people.
You'll see some Nebraska jerseys, some Nebraska sweatshirts. You'll see maybe the occasional Creighton sweatshirt. You'll see Omaha stuff as well. Hopefully the majority of it. But yeah, it's all-inclusive. And no one really cares. No one's like, oh my God, you're a Creighton basketball fan, yet you're at an Omaha hockey game? How dare you?
How did they let you in?
Omaha Athletics is the Switzerland of the state.
They are. Like, come on.
Everybody roots for Nebraska.
Come on.
Except when Omaha wins an NCAA men's basketball tournament game before they do.
Ooh.
And then they'll just hate. It'll be absolute hate.
Especially if there's a little clapping going on by some of the Omaha Maverick faithful trying to get under the skin.
This is a tweet from Nick. I've been a Husker basketball fan for the last 25 years, and I've seen more Jays fans come out from underneath the floorboards last season to take interest than any season prior.
Previous Nebraska fans that have now crossed over to Jays fans?
I said Jays fans.
Yeah, I still think there's a definitive line.
I think the Nebraska basketball success is to strengthen the Nebraska fan base.
It does. Hey, look at what it did this year. It made us not talk about football as much either. Not saying that it was a bad thing. It wasn't like, oh my gosh, we don't want to.
And again, but
it was exciting.
As this little tit for tat has grown, They're going to play on the day of a football game.
That's
Thank you.
true.
Thank you.
At least as